Hello everyone and welcome
Grand
to
League's
Trackmania Grand League. We are at Winter 2021 season's conclusion of the league stage. We are at step number 6 out of 6. I am your host, TM Scotsman. The TM does stand for Trackmania. I will be bringing you today's events and today's Trackmania as we have passed the Gear Down Invitational, we've passed Trackmania Formula League. We have passed the starters, now we are on to the main event. We are on to the main course of your meal today, and I will be your butler of today's Trackmania. We are going to be having another and the final step of the league stage here. It is now going to be number 6 out of 6, and it will be coming up in front of your eyes within a few short minutes here. Maybe possible we'll be starting a bit earlier, as we'll get a little bit of game sound through your ears now. However, coming up this week, we do have the final chance for players to secure their positions to decide whether they're going to be going into the playoff, to decide if they're going to have to languish in the combine, to see what place they're going to end Trackmania Grand League Winter 2021 season. It's going to be very interesting no matter what. However, before we get into the results, before we get into the new maps, before we get into everything else here, any of the new fans to Trackmania Grand League series, I've a quick little video to explain to you how today's event is going to work.
Welcome to a Trackmania Grand League step. Let's zoom in on how a step works. Each step is played under the Champion mode, which consists of 6 races taking place on 6 different maps. In each race, the 16 players will start the race at the same time and will execute 6 laps. The player with the best lap time is given 2 extra points for every race. For the first 2 maps, part of the opening phase, players get warmed up and win points according to their position. For maps 3 and 4, things heat up, and the players who finish the race in 9th to 16th place lose half of their points won from the previous maps. Every player still wins points for the maps being played based on their position. For the 2 final maps, the pressure is on and everything is at stake. Players finishing the race in 9th to 16th place lose all the points that they have won so far. In conclusion, step points are fully determined at the end of map 6. And these step points are then added to the global ranking.
And there you have it, that is your Trackmania Grand League step in a nutshell, and as we said, it will be coming up on your eyes within a few minutes. However, with step 6, this is going to be, of course, Team Secret's channel, as you are seeing here, twitch.tv/Team Secret, represented by none other than myself today as the caster Scotty. However, most importantly, the man with the steering wheel in hand is going to be evoN, the young Polish driver who has been showing a lot of promise this season, however struggling to get results on the board and does find a little bit of difficulty in their position so far in the league, and will be hoping to improve upon it and perhaps even get into the playoffs, but most importantly avoid the bottom 4, avoid the combine stage here. That's going to be very important and no doubt playing into the mind of evoN here. However, before we go on to talk about the new maps here, we will check out the league rankings. Now, it is fair to say that your top 3, your top 4 even, I would say, are all but secure. So you have Carl Jr. 313 at the top, Pack 272 at the top. They're mathematically impossible to be able to be caught. Aurel, who arguably you would say is safe as well at 116. Afi and Mudda definitely on the verge of being confirmed safe, but 98 for Afi in 4th, 91 for Mudda in 5th. So strong second season yet again for Afi, and Mudda performing an extremely well debut season so far. We'll see if it ends in Starry Dreams or Streaky Tears for Mudda. However, in the very, very precarious position, we have a murderer's row here of Trackmania players. We have world champions here. We have some of the very best up-and-comers and some of the very best old-timers. We've got Bren, Massa and Gwen currently in playoff positions, but by the skin of their teeth. Bren is 11 points ahead of Spam, who's 9th, so Bren in 6th. Massa is 4 points ahead of Spam. Gwen is 2 points ahead of Spam. So Considering these players are no more than 10 points, 11 points away from safety, none of them are going to be taking it easy at any point throughout today's event, I can absolutely assure you. However, we have some extremely strong players who are going to be trying to play catch up today. Like we said, we've got world champions who are going to be chasing these folks down, and we also have a few surprises, I would definitely say, in the lower end of the scale. We're going to be going into the warm-up though for Whoops, but let's take a quick look here. Someone's not on server. Oh, never mind. But we take a quick look here. We have Spam 73 points. Kappa 64 points. Tween 61 points. Even Scrappy, Riolu, Papu, Evon with a monster of a step can still get into things. However, for the people I would say under Tween are mostly going to be fighting amongst each other to avoid the positions. But we've seen Papu bring out a near 100 point step. Riolu's been close to winning the entire league stage before. Scrappy's nearly won Trackmania Grand League before. So definitely a lot of potential here. However, we will move on to Whoops, which is going to be the first map of the last step today. And this is Whoops. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Whoops, and we are just finishing and getting underway with map number 1 of step number 6 here. Now, a very important point to keep note of here. A lot of your players who are very far behind the playoff positions and points are going to need to start their journey now. They cannot afford to wait for maps 3, 4, 5 and 6. They need to start it in maps 1 and 2. We're looking at 50 plus points from this step, but one who certainly isn't going to be starting off strongly is Scrappy, who's already a country mile behind, having made a big mistake so far. But as always, we'll start off with Evon here. And lap number 1 is Gwen, makes a big mistake already. We see Massa's down, so not getting out of breath just yet, but we already have significant mistakes being made already, and some players are already down. I see Tween down, Aurel making mistakes, and a lot of people have fallen early. Now, a little thing to remember here, now we are going into the last step, so expect players to be well prepared on everything, but definitely some players are going to be prioritising the newer maps as they will feel them to be the most important. But Evon ends lap number 1 in first place, so great so far for the young man from Team Secret. Fighting toe-to-toe with Carl Jr. Evon isn't ready for his playoff dreams to die here just yet. He's going to take a full head of steam, and hopefully for, I'm sure, all the Team Secret supporters out there, he'll be wanting to take home a maximum points haul, at least in this map, to get started off in the best way. But let's take a quick look here. Some other players are definitely going to need a lot of points here. Going down to 6th position, you can see just behind there's quite a gap there down to Pack. Evon actually makes a mistake going through that wall ride. Will be able to recover, but is now down in the fight for 7th position here with Pack. A lot of potential for points to be gained here, it must be said, though, with players prioritising the later maps, especially in such a high impact step such as this. This is Last Chance Saloon, so expect players to be using all the tricks in the book. And currently, Bren actually takes over the lead from his opponent there. Carl Jr., former teammate of Bren, formerly part of the Solary and Lunary duo were Carl Jr. and Bren in seasons gone past. Ever now representing Kameto Corp. Link, another player who needs a miracle, it must be said, currently sitting on less than 20 points. However, Carl Jr. making a mistake is a miracle in any sense of the word, so for him falling behind Link there, opening up some doors. And Spam losing some speed, and everything's falling in the way of Link here so far, but Carl Jr. actually reclaims a position, keeping Link away from the podium positions for the time being. But let's see here, we can see the likes of Tween and Scrappy already made big mistakes. Both players in the bottom 8. Afi not off to the best starts either. Papu also needs a strong result. We've got Mudda and Massa down here. We've got a lot of people quite a far group behind here. We get TMGL having a lot of issues going through here. He's going to have to go for the reactor boost, as does Massa. Damage limitation going through that section. You will get a little bit of speed boost by virtue of using the reactor boost, but that is a lot of positions lost for TMGL, considering he started lap number 1 in first place. Or started lap number 2 in first place, pardon me. We're actually going into lap number 4 now. Carl Jr.'s also made a big blunder, finding himself all the way down in 6th here and quite far behind Lincoln Rielu, who he was just ahead of previously. Then you can actually see here Bren does have a 1.3 second lead and only extending that by the looks of things over his closest opponent, Rielu. Another player who needs a strong result is Nordvin from Germany. But Link and Rielu, 2nd and 3rd. Pack, although it's mathematically impossible for him to be overtaken by anyone, he can still overtake someone else. And make no mistake, Pack will be looking for that 4th place. Oh, Link makes a mistake though, but through the reactor boost you'll see he will recover a little bit. Only loses this positions to this group of players. That is 3 positions, but you can see they're all very close together, so they're going to be able to enter into a fight here in the penultimate lap. Lap number 5 out of 6. Gwen on a charge here. He's also going to need a good result. Has got the fastest lap so far, but makes a mistake. He would have been able to recover from that by the looks of things. And another! And Gwen's going to fall so much further down. And the pressure perhaps got to the young Frenchman. And he drops all the way down to 15th position here. After we were just praising him here, he gets absolutely ruined and flushed straight down the toilet, along with any hopes he had of getting some good points going through that. But we can see here Bren up at the top, going into this identity for the penultimate time. Oh, nice and smooth there for Bren. Was a little bit of an issue on exit, but survives no problem. Want to get that bump perfect just so you can get enough speed to make it over the jump, but not too much. Kappa also eking into the top 8. You can see how this map's caused a lot of problems for the players. I mean, look how much of a gap there is between them. 2.5 seconds between 1st and 2nd place. Certainly don't often see that, but close fights throughout your field here. Carl Jr. and Spam fighting over 4th position here. Carl Jr. and Pack especially don't really have much to fight for other than 1st place, which does net you a decent amount of prize money as well, but the main money is to be made in the playoffs, of course, which both are easily secured in. But still a little bit extra pocket money to these 2 Titans if they do manage to take home 1st place in the group stage as well. I suppose you could call this the league phase. But Bren is going to take, oh, very, very scary there for Bren, but he is going to take your first €100, your first 20 points. Doesn't get the fastest lap, but I'm sure he'll be happy with what he's ended out with. Carl Jr. gets 2nd, Rielu rounds out your podium there, and we're followed by Spam, Pack, Kappa, Link, and Aurel in your top 8. But languishing down in the pennies positions, we have Scrappy, Afi, Papu, Tween, TMGL, Gwen, Massa and Mudda. So not a great start for some of those who do immediately need points here. We will not be seeing many big changes throughout the orders here in the league standings, perhaps around about the playoff positions, but the most important part is going to be in the coming maps. But we will move on to reversing here, which definitely lends itself to a different type of technique, and perhaps we'll be seeing some different names up at the top and also down at the bottom. But I'll give you guys a little looky-see of reversing. Everyone cat jamming to the top quality tunes. That's what we like to see. Moving on to map number 2 out of 6, though, we have reversing. Now, of course, going into the playoffs, any of the maps which have been played so far can be used in the playoffs. So, will we say it will be the final time for a lot of these maps? It is possible they can still appear in the final stage. Definitely going to be interesting to see who manages to take home some good points from here, as it is one which we did see quite a few mistakes on, but also one which we saw really separating was the gaps that some of the players were managed to pull out. Most notably, I believe it was Gwen and who exactly was it? Sorry, Gwen and Bren, I believe it was, that both performed extremely well on this map. Some players perhaps practicing a little technique here as Spam, perhaps. Trying to shoot straight into the finish, but no cigar for Mr. Spam. But we will start off once again on the opening phase with our man TMGL. Map number 2 out of 6, currently sitting on 3 points. Needs quite a few more points than 3. Let's see if we can start it off in map number 2. His opponents for position, Link, got off to a strong start. 7 points so far for him. But here we go, reversing now. Ubisoft and Adele made map, I believe it said. Oh no, sorry, it's a map by Thompson, my apologies. But a map that offers a good bit of line choice going through here, especially through the reverse section. See a lot of players opting for different little techniques. Some players maybe have mastered the reversing skill through their own nuances to it. But let's see here, going into the identity for the first time. Reversing is treating everyone well so far, apart from Bren, but no points lost in the opening phase, so nothing to worry about for the French front for Kameto. Strong start once again here for TMGL, but look at this battle up at the top here. None other than the top 2 of the league so far, Pac and Carl Jr. Pac opting for a little bit of airtime there. Carl Jr. keeping all his wheels on the ground. And extending a little bit of a lead here. One player is definitely capable of matching these players, however has not shown it so far this season, is Scrappy. Currently sitting in 3rd position in this map, but quite far down both in terms of results in this step and results in this season in general, and that's not going to help matters at all for Scrappy. Mudda finished last in map number 1, but is in a position where he will need a good amount of points just to assure his safety. Not exactly in danger, but not exactly safe either. As the Australian, oh, that mistake will be costly. That costs him 2 positions here. Actually, Pac, having made a mistake earlier on, does fall that little bit down as well. See this battle for the podium positions now, no longer Pac involved. Papu and Spam going toe-to-toe for 3rd, and TMGL and Carl Jr. reprising a battle from map number 1 here. TMGL 2nd place here. Perhaps put a little bit more practice into the earlier maps to build up ahead of steam. Maybe relying upon keeping points throughout the whole stage. That is the key to success, of course. Gaining points is much easier to do than keeping them. Oh, Pac falling down the order there. That was a full stop he had. That's a lot of issues having been had for Pac and Tween as well. Rooted to the bottom of the scoreboard are they. But Gwen, one of the players who's really been setting this map alight with fastest lap currently, and also looking very strong in general. And TMGL actually sets the fastest lap now as I say that, but straight away makes the mistake. Perhaps getting a little bit too caught up into the pace. Risks it for that extra 1/10 and catches the wall on the inside. However, if keeping the fastest lap, that'll net an extra 2 points to the total no matter where he finishes. But that was also Riolu falling quite far behind, and actually behind Pac. Rooted to the bottom of the scoreboard now is Riolu. Maybe felt a little bit bad for his former teammate Pac. Both formerly members of Team Expert. Tween all the way down here. Massa, Bren, Afi, Kappa and Scrappy both languishing outside the top 8. 8th position currently being held by TMGL. However, we'll need more than that. Link as well. 7th place. Aurel, who's also safe as far as I'm aware in terms of points. Currently 118, I think it is, for Aurel. Mudda, though, looking good in 4th. Oh, is that someone made a mistake? Was that Carl Jr.? What is happening? I've seen more than one mistake being made by Carl Jr. Perhaps taking his foot off the gas a little bit here as the Canadian, the greatest of all time, as I like to call him. This does offer more opportunity for points. In the lower parts, you do get some players that will just, as you move up a position, you only move up 1 point. However, when we're getting closer to the 3, 2 and 1, of course, first place you get 20 points, second place you get 16 points. So extra positions here really do count, and especially for all 3 of these drivers. Gwen, who's trying to secure a playoff position. Spam, who's trying to catch one. Papu also is trying to catch one. What a shocker it would be if any of those 3 players would be excluded from the playoffs, when there's a possibility of all 3 of them missing the playoffs. But we are going through this identity for the second to last time here. Aurel and TMGL and Scrappy battling through this short section. Aurel does get a little bit of airtime there and overtake, but we're going to go up to the battle up at the top here. Gwen and Papu. Pat currently has the fastest lap, although he is in last place, so it's not really going to add much to nothing pretty much. Gwen currently in first. And extending a little bit of a lead now. Let's see if Spam is closing in a little bit on Papu. Both players need a mountain of points here to make sure of their safety. But then in Trackmania Grand League, you are never safe. But let's take a little bit of a look down here. Scrappy sort of secure in 4th position. Aurel and TMGL going toe-to-toe here for the 5th position here. TMGL needs to secure any sort of position he can get there. He was extremely close and actually catching up on Scrappy. Is TMGL going to be able to do anything in the final section? It doesn't look like he's got the legs on Scrappy, but they're going for the risky route in the finish, and Scrappy fails it. TMGL manages to snipe the 4th place and gets the fastest lap there. Is he going to keep it though? Everyone finishing, and he will keep it. Scrappy falls down to 6th position there, and that was a lovely end there by TMGL, and that's going to mean a good points haul there. Actually, Pack steals it at the very end there with a snipe in at the end, so an extra 2 points for Pack, rips it out of TMGL's grasp. He will get 10 points to dry his tears with though, and moves up to 9th position in this step so far. However, there is nothing between a lot of those players fighting for those spots. We now, however, have a familiar face. We have Clash Time returning. Now we have all our sabotagers coming back in. Where's my Aurora Racing friends? I know you're here. Don't try and trick me. Have they gone on a simple map to give everyone else mercy? Is that what's happening? Are we already our fingers loosened up? Ice at the start, oh yeah. So the commands will come up on your screen. Probably could press forward that, I reckon. But let's be honest, in Clash Time there's never going to be a press forward. There he is. There's TK, I knew it was coming. And there's Transporter, there's Dev. Who else is coming? They're all coming. That would actually be, that would be impossible, but that would also be interesting. Let's see. Let's see what we can do here. I'll make sure and get the right perspective. Right. Let's go. Oh wait, wrong thing. We're not dead yet. Oh, we might be dead. Reverse or something, I don't know. Right, yeah, we do need to respawn. Thanks, Div. Right, go left. Left. We'll ride this wall. Now, right. There we go. We've got it. We've got it. All good in the hood. Let's get our plussies. Our rights going. Hey, Erwin, don't you start. You're in our team. Right, we are catching up. Mudder's going into the wall for some reason. Not yet. Not yet. There we go. We'll keep the forwards going. We're fine. We're fine. Top speed's only 50, so I don't think we're going to have to worry about acceleration penalty, to be honest. See how many laps we can complete. I reckon we get a good few laps in. To the right, to the right. And catch up and Scrappy. He went straight into the wall there. So imagine trying to do this with slow mode on. Ugh. Ugh. Right, to the left now. Left, what a good angle and entry. Oh, too much left. No. To the right. Oh. Oh. There we go. Left, left. Perfect. There we go. Wait, how is Tween driving? Who's controlling it for him? I'm confused. It's all a scam. Right, we're good, we're good. Keep the plussies going. Yeah. Someone fire me. Plussies and a little bit of right. Let's do it. Wheel's going backwards. Been trolled into oblivion as real out. AR must be on his. Actually, a 3-lapper. Might be able to complete the 3 laps. Oh no, best lap was definitely us. Not even a chance. Oh wait, no, we're not finished, that's why. To the left, we get a good angle. Let's go. And now to the right. Hey, best lap forever. No, to the right. Oh, we'll do it backwards. No, 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 we won't. Never mind. Try again. Everyone's steering different ways. No. Right, we'll try this again. Come on. There we go. Right. To the right we go. To the right. Okay, that didn't work either. We'll give this one more try. Right, left. Left. No. Backwards. Backwards. Oh. Right, okay. Figured it out. Left. Left. Now right. Now right. Now right. Now right. Now right. No, we missed it. Minus 5 seconds left and we're getting overtaken by everyone. Why is this such a problem? Draw. Boo. Boo. Although that does mean we are the winners of Clash Time. We are the undisputed winners because we won it 2 times. So everyone pat yourselves on the back. Clash Time has been won. It's all because of you, Div. Don't think I didn't notice. But yes, we now move on to the danger zone of Trackmania Grand League. We have map number 3, which beckons. We have Arctic Split. Now, we saw someone making a mistake in this immediately, and a part of me wants to see that happen again. That's fair. AR did try and help us. We appreciate that. AR are our friends again. Is this what you're doing to make it up to me? I see. Okay, so Arctic Split. I'll give you a little quick refresher if any of you don't remember. And there we have, I was just about to say Whispering Sirens there because I was looking at the audio which it was saying it came from. But there you have Arctic Split. Very interesting map here. And the identity, I must say, doesn't look that difficult. You're thinking, yeah, it's just jumping through these pillars. But actually, it has caught a lot of people out. And this is one of these identities that may not look difficult on the surface, but actually performing this identity when the pressure is at its highest can prove to be very difficult. So, one of the symptoms for when the pressure gets really overwhelming in Trackmania is your finger trembles a little bit. Whereas in a shooting game, CSGO the likes, pressing A or D too much maybe oversteps you a little. You can get away with it, but going a little bit too far to the left or right here in this game, and it will spell your doom. You check in here on the live rankings for your step currently on the left hand side of your screen. Massa definitely not off to a good start. Mudda and Tween not performing very well, but let's see how this would affect the league overall. So, Massa would not be in playoffs at the moment. Spam would have overtaken. Mudda, Gwen and Bren would be secure. Kappa, Tween would still be close. But definitely if someone like Spam keeps his points here, this is going to be very interesting. But here we go, map number 3. And as always, the bottom half of your scoreboard, those in the red positions on the left hand side of your screen, will lose their points. Someone's already respawned. Who was that? Was it? It was Gwen. 25 points for Gwen are going to be having a lot of issues with staying in his pocket now. Scrappy also fell a little bit far behind. That's going to be very interesting because Gwen is by no means secure. Don't think he's even in. No, he is in playoffs, but losing some of this 25 points and all of a sudden his playoff position comes into question. Oh, evoN staying a little bit too far up on the top of that there. Going for a board slide or something, I'm not sure. That'll get you the wrong kind of points. Is there a wrong kind of points though? Apart from points in your driving license maybe? But Papu is not messing around here. All the way up in first, but going into the identity for the first time, evoN already hesitates a lot going through there, but still keeps his car on track, whereas a lot of people falling down there. Scrappy, Spam, Carl Jr. all make mistakes. Afi also falling down through that section, and that's going to mean that damage has officially been limited. But Gwen just getting even further behind now, and you can all but say that his half of points are gone. Spam and Scrappy are definitely going to need to pick it up a little bit here, but the main group here, I suppose, starting from Carl Jr. and moving forward, but let's move up to the top. We've got Riolu and Pack here. Bren was in the lead at the start of the lap, but lost a little bit of time. Pack makes a mistake though. Same as evoN, just hung a little bit too long up at the top, was left out to dry there. Falls down to, I believe this is 8th position. 9th actually, but Aurel makes it 8th. He doesn't want us being wrong in our cast. But Pack, anyone who can recover from a bad position, it is this man. Massa though, he needs to be very careful going forward. He needs a good result. Let's see, so we have Papu up in first place, does have a strong lead here. He's going to need to build up some more points, still finding himself in the bottom 4 actually of the leaderboards. Followed by Riolu, Bren, Mudda, Afi. Is that Tween falling down? Oh, not far. Carl Jr. and evoN now bringing themselves closer to the top group. Wait, where'd Carl Jr. go? Okay, he's all the way up to, he's just teleported or something, I don't know, just doing Carl Jr. things. Hacking. The wall hacking in Trackmania. Guy who can go the closest to the walls consistently without crashing, it must be cheats. Spam ever in a battle here with Aurel. Aurel actually falling down quite a lot here. We saw him slowing down through this section actually last time around, but still finds himself in a fight here, but you can see a long train of cars here, and Carl Jr. once again makes a mistake through this identity. A lot of uncharacteristic mistakes there from Carl Jr., but Link actually, by getting a good 14 points so far, will put them at risk. Scrappy actually now getting into this group as well. Another player who needs a strong result. Oh, Tween falling. I think TMGL fell, and TMGL actually has to respawn. His points are all going to be but gone now. Where'd Tween go? Tween falling behind Link, so Link being offered a little bit of a lifeline here despite making the mistake. Just past the halfway point here. Tina, Aurel, Spam. The closest to be able to make advantage of a mistake here, but not long left. Link still has the opportunity, but he's going to be hoping someone, Kappa or in front, will be making mistakes. Or all of the above. I mean, that's applicable as well. But let's check in up at the top here. We've got Mudda, we've got Papu, we've got Afi, Pack, Riolu. Pack actually slides to the bottom of this group. Riolu, strong results so far though. 5-man battle here. Carl Jr. not quite onto the tails of these guys. Impressive how he's so close though, considering the identity mistakes he's made. And Gwen, despite pretty much being in last place, does have the fastest lap, so he will at least get 3 points, I suppose. That's something. Mudda though, not really any points to lose, so he can afford to go for a high position here, try and risk a little. Riolu and Papu though, both players who are not currently in the playoffs. Oh, Mudda actually drops all the way down to 9th position here. It's going to allow Scrappy into a green spot here. But we still have a little bit of time left to go. See Riolu opting for a different line going through that section. He will get a little bit more exit speed, but seems to be Pack and Papu managed it a little bit easier. Afi also on the tail of this group, ready to pounce on any mistakes. Of course, when the pressure is highest when you're fighting in groups like these, because you know you need to keep pushing. This, however, is the final lap here. Different line here coming from Pack, and he will have a lot more exit speed. Shoots into the lead now. Papu and Riolu are now playing catch up. Afi still 4th, and quite a big gap back now. We look at Massa and Carl Jr. Kappa and Scrappy still looking decent so far. Exchanging positions. Tween and Link though, they're not going to be close enough to catch up off of their own steam. Going to need to count neither one of the players ahead to make a mistake here. Oh, and it's K Massa. He's dropped down. He went too far to the outside here now. How close are they going to be able to get? Massa recovers. I'm seeing Papu dropping down as well, but gets onto a booster, so he will negate the speed loss. Falling even further as a Frenchman. That will limit the amount of points he's able to take, but that's about it. Everyone looks to make it through this, no problem though. Final stretch of this identity. And there we go. Pack takes home yet another map win. Yet another €100. His wallet will be full to bursting at this point. Aurel is your final one to finish here though. Spam will lose half points, as well as Link, Tween, Bren, Mudda, TMGL, Gwen and Aurel will all be losing half points here. And that's going to be big dents to the hopes of the likes of Gwen, TMGL, Spam also. Let's take a quick look here. Massa would still be in 9th like this. Riolu would move himself out of the... what do you call it? Out of the combine positions. But here we go now on to map number 4, which will be Whirlpool. Definitely a different kind of identity here. One that we've seen a lot of players actually making mistakes on. A bit similar to some other maps, but I'll show you Whirlpool while I go and refill my drink. And there we have it. We do have Whirlpool coming up on our screens. It is going to be this map and 2 left in the league stage of Trackmania Grand League Winter 2021. And we will be going live with that in 40 seconds as per the top of the screen. So let's check out the league ranking as of how we are at the moment. Now, a little reminder here, there is 60 points remaining out of this. That means Link essentially needs to win all remaining maps, TMGL as well. It is important to remember though that these points totals do include what the players are gained at the moment. So for example, the likes of Whirlpool with 27 extra points here, if he loses them, he's going to be in a much worse position than you see on screen. But currently, Papu, Scrappy, TMGL and Link would find themselves in danger of going into the combine. Semi-final phase. The second part of that is underway. We're on Whirlpool and we're starting off with TMGL once again, and we will see what can be done by the players in map number 4 out of 6. It has officially passed the halfway point of this step. And already a big mistake there by Tween. Tween's maps just seem to end before they even begin pretty much for the Slovakian. A lot of mistakes, it must be said. Maybe feeling the pressure. Hasn't really had a strong Trackmania Grand League yet. Missed out in the playoffs last time. Had a gutting result the time before, so it's not went Tween's way in recent times. Also not going TMGL's way so far. 15th position so far. Finding himself a little bit behind the pack, but let's see how everyone handles this identity. Tween actually recovered well onto the back of this train. Everyone going relatively uniform through these sections. Oh, I'm seeing some respawns though. What's happened there? Spam, Massa and Aurel both making big mistakes going through there. Pack is your current leader after that, but let's see how far they are behind, and they are miles behind. Spam very much in danger of missing out on playoffs here. Massa also, if he keeps this up. Aurel and Tween far behind as well. I don't know what's happening to these guys. TMGL is at the back of this main train here, but we're seeing a lot of mistakes being made throughout this section. Let's go into the main body of the pack with Whirlpool. It's also crucial for him to keep on to his points. He can't afford to just settle for, you know, maybe sacrificing a half points loss here. He needs a full safety throughout this tournament pretty much. Throughout this remainder of the tournament. Let's see if Bren's got a little technique going through here. You can see he's going a little bit deeper into the toilet, I suppose some people were calling it. Oh, Gwen managing to net the fastest lap. Round number 2. Let's move on to lap number 3. Pack and Gwen. Pack, I suppose, maybe a little bit miffed as with Gwen's meteoric rise through Trackmania. The question's always been, who's faster, Gwen or Carl Jr.? As Carl Jr.'s been really the yardstick of Trackmania, obviously, throughout its history, but Pack was definitely the one that was setting a lot of trails ablaze through the last few years, but not had very strong performances recently. However, has turned up to Trackmania Grand League Winter 2021 to fight. And fight he is as he overtakes Gwen. Once again, going into the identity for the 3rd time now. See also on the left hand side of your screen, Whirlpool dropping down. I see Afi's made a big mistake. Link also finding himself now in the red. So Whirlpool and Scrappy move back up. Back and forth here's Papu. Tried to dive in there and get the extra 10-32, but falls down. Mudda also trying to get himself back up here, but only with 5 points here, so gonna need to screw his head on straight here. Can't be upside down in Trackmania as well as in real life. But as we see here, Afi too far behind here as well as Spam. Massa, Aurel and Link also more than 3 seconds behind the top 8. Tween 2.1, Oh, Mudda actually has made a big mistake going through here. Mudda's going to end up in the bottom 8. Now, Mudda doesn't have a lot of points to lose here, so I suppose maybe it'll be a fastest lap hunt now for Mudda. That also promotes, I believe it was Scrappy, who was on the verge of the top 8, now officially into the top 8. And also puts TMGL on the very verge of keeping his points so far, so going to be very important for all these players. But Papu makes a big mistake, and this is terrible for Papu, a man who needs a good result even just to avoid the combine, is now finding himself in the red zone here, and half of his points are going to be at risk against another player who definitely needs to keep his points in TMGL. So both players fighting for survival here, and the two in front are definitely at risk as well. Any one of this group of 4 of TMGL, Riolu and Scrappy, they need to be very careful throughout these remaining sections. See Riolu very close to Scrappy here now. They'll be putting a little bit of pressure on each other. That can be dangerous, of course. Papu 1/10 behind TMGL here, going into the identity for the penultimate time. Papu overtakes going through the identity, gaining a lot of speed and trying to catch up. Actually loses it going through that third hole into the fourth, and now still finds himself a little bit further behind. No big mistakes through that section though, and Papu actually loses more, nearly half a second behind now. Actually, he now has Riolu to contend with as TMGL manages to extend the gap over Papu a little bit and actually claim a position as a little bit of a boundary here. So this is going to be very important here for Riolu now, as Riolu now, if he loses one more position, he's going to be losing points as well. Both players have 27 at risk, but someone was in the trees. Who was that? We'll see going through this next checkpoint. Was it Tween? Tween's lost it. Gwen also finding himself now down here, and that means Papu actually moves up into safety here. Players perhaps sweating buckets going into the final identity. Actually Scrappy losing some time. Gwen is on the attack and he does have the lap record, so he might have the pace to catch up on them, and he's getting close. He's overtaking TMGL actually, who's going to get it going into the final hole. Papu's falling a bit further behind, and Gwen nearly lost it at the end, but Papu, half of his points go down the Whirlpool there. That's going to be 13 lost there by Papu. Commiserations for the Gamers Origins man. But Tween, Spam having a nightmare in this semi-final phase. And this is going to be very difficult for them to come back from, as they only have 2 maps to make more out of this. But a lot of movement up here at the top. Pack actually next to the fastest lap there. Brings himself up to 49 points here. Carl Jr. on 40. But this is going to be very interesting to see how this looks going into the final phase here. We now have ski jump coming up, and the order is definitely going to be changed up that little bit. But first of all, let's check out ski jump, and then we'll jump into the league standings. And there you have it. We now have ski jump, which will be coming up on your screens in just over a minute's time. Definitely a track which seems a lot simpler in terms of the identity. I mean, that's another one of these ones which I'm looking at thinking like, what's the difficulty here, you know? It just feels like a big jump. But the technicality in this track, what we've spoken about before, remember, when the track seems easier, remember that the players are going to risk more. If they feel it's easier, they're going to go for that extra 10%. We will have a small warm-up here or sorry, a small extension to the warm-up here. 2.5 minutes we will be adding on, just to allow the players to get their extra practice in throughout the final phase starting up. So we do get a little bit of a breather. Any of you need the toilet or need to grab a snack or a drink, I certainly do. But I've already done that, so no worries. But we can see here through our current standings in this step, we have a few players who after the semi-final phase are struggling even to get into the double digits. We have Arel on 9, Tween on 8 and Mudda on 4 points, but not much further ahead. We have Link and Massa on 10. We have Spam on 11, evoN just ahead of Afi, who's got 14 points here. evoN outside the top 8 but still with 17. Papu with 19 points, Gwen 23, Scrappy 29, Kappa 31, Riolu 36, Bren 36, Carl Jr. 40 and Pack 49. Now, we will take a quick looky-see at how that looks in the overall standings. But remember, we're moving on to the final phase, so that's going to mean all points are now at risk. So what's very important about that, you see Gwen, 23 points. If he loses them, he's down. He's not going to be in the top 8 anymore. If Mudda stays where he... Well, actually, Mudda doesn't have any points at the moment, but if the likes of Massa, Spam or Riolu keeps gaining points, then Mudda could definitely be at risk. Kappa currently 31 points at the moment. He needs to keep his points, or else he's going to be out, of course. But the most important part for those who are maybe not even setting their sights on the playoffs at the moment is avoiding the bottom 4. Now, the important thing about the bottom 4 is anyone who is in the bottom 4 will go through to what's called the Combine. Now, currently you can see that's Link, evoN, Papu and Tween. Now, what will happen in the Combine is the players will go in a 1v1 against each other. Now, they'll get matched up, say in this case it would be like Tween and Link and Papu and evoN, based upon their seeding, I believe it is. I'll look back on how the seeding's actually done. But whoever wins that 1v1 stays in Trackmania Grand League. Whoever loses the 1v1 goes down. So there's going to be no easy ride into Trackmania Grand League next season, neither from the Open Grand League route or through the Trackmania Grand League route. But we're going to start off the final phase once again with evoN. This is Ski Jump. This is map number 5 out of step number 6, and we are underway. Having spoken to evoN a little bit, he didn't feel that the last 2 maps really suited him all that well, but there is nothing left to lose here. Nothing really to gain for the likes of Spam. Has already fallen down and making a mistake here. Pressure perhaps getting to the old timer almost, you could call him. A world champion 9 years ago now. In 2012, it's scary to think 2012 is 9 years ago. Remember we all thought the world would end in 2012? I remember that. Pepperidge Farm remembers. But we're going into the identity for the first time. Wouldn't expect a lot of mistakes here. It's another map where you expect the mistakes to be made by players who are mostly failing. That's what we would expect. Mostly trying to bite off more than they could chew. Trying to cut off an extra little bit of track. And as such, losing that little bit of time. Exactly as what we were mentioning there. Likes of Massa trying to take too much speed through there, and as a result loses time and loses a lot of ground. But Spam being 5 seconds behind here pretty much is already going to be out of it, because with a map being this easy, you're not going to have a lot of people making such big mistakes. But who knows, maybe I'll be eating my words soon. Mudda, who needs a good group of points, and Bren, who does also 36. He's also made a blunder. He will pay the price. Who's that that's just dropped down? That's Massa, I believe it is, dropping down behind Mudda. All of these players pretty much in the bottom 5 need strong results, and none of them are getting them at the moment. Mudda with a different line there. Afi should still be a little bit safe, but he'll not wanting to be scaring himself a little bit here, that's for sure. Everyone flying over. Relatively simple, just a little jump here. unsettling of the car going into the last part, but after you've practiced that a little bit, you should be able to nail that down. Oh, who was that backflipping through there? Absolutely no idea what it is, but they're going to be losing their points for sure. And it's Rielu, another player who's trying to escape the bottom four, and that's certainly not the way to do it. His 36 points are at extreme risk at the moment. He's got a full tree of cars that he's going to need to part like the Red Sea, but need a miracle of biblical proportions. Here is Rielu, but not looking to get it here, as in his way he has Bren, who needs to keep his points. Afi, Mudda, Aurel, Massa, Scrappy. He's going to need to carve through them like a hot knife through butter. Fold them like a red hot Mars bar. But he will need to keep his focus, which is what the most important part of this is. As Kappa failing, and a lapse in concentration for Afi as well, and they are falling. Is this allowing Rielu an opportunity into that, as I was saying? Perhaps most importantly for Bren, actually. As you can see here, all the way down to Kappa, there's only a 1 second gap for those in front. However, Rielu is significantly further behind. But Kappa, if his playoff hopes are going to continue, he's going to need to keep his points. Same with Bren. This is going to shake up the order massively coming through here. Let's check in with the top 8 though as we go past our half of this track. We have Aurel, Scrappy, but Massa is milliseconds behind. We have Pack up here as well. Evon, Carl Jr., Papu, who just makes the mistake. That's going to kill Papu's playoff hopes if he doesn't manage to finish in the top 8. It's only 1 place behind, and now Aurel shaking and quivering here through this section. Scrappy now falling through the neo slides, and everyone is losing their concentration going through these sections. Tween needs a miracle here, and he's going to need to start that off in this map. Gwen up at the top. But look how close this is. From Scrappy down to Papu, there is about 0.2 of a second separating you, but now Pack moves down, and he's going to allow a free spot now that Link is going to try and capitalise from. But who was that? That was actually Evon now falling into this group. Look how close they all are. Aurel in 10th, up to Massa in 4th, and they are covered by 0.4 of a second between so many drivers here. Kappa not far behind, Mudda not too far behind. There's not too many positions that can be gained here, but that was Link falling down, and now one more in this top group will be able to breathe, but it certainly won't be Link. His points are going away, as with anyone outside of the top 11 it looks like. But now Aurel on the hunt, but look at this group up here. We've got Scrappy, Bren actually finally recovered now, Evon up here trying to keep hold of his points, Massa, Papu also recovered. But Aurel now on the charge. He wants to play havoc in someone's hopes and dreams here. Oh, Massa though, he's all over the place there, and he's going to lose some time as well as Papu. That's allowing Evon and Aurel a route back in, but Aurel says no thank you, I don't want to get more points. Mud also goes for a big jump there. And now Kappa's into this group, and look at these players. So many of them, so side by side here. Kappa only 2/10 behind, but you can see he's 2/10 behind an absolute swarm of cars of different colours here. We've got the pink of Lazarus, the red of Gamer's Origin, no longer the black of Big. That's going to allow Kappa actually into the top 8 now. That's crucial there for the Czech player. Now Mud are the closest to be able to capitalise, but the players will just be seeing the bodies all around them. They won't realise that they're able to safe it here. Scrappy actually loses some time going through that section, although it allows him to take a different approach, actually overtaking Kappa here. Carl Jr. making a mistake. That's allowing a lot of these players to get a little bit more out of this position. Gwen looks like he's going to be flying through this track into first place. He also needs to secure a playoff position. Tween needs a playoff position. Bren needs to keep his points. Is everyone going to make it through the ending? No problem. Kappa actually steals a position. No one gets too much of a jump, but it looks as if they're going to be all safe and well. Some dreams are still alive, but the likes of Rielu's just got crushed. Spams, dead in the water. Massa, all hope is now lost. And look at this. TMGL, at the very least, still holding on to his points. Tween actually stole a fastest lap there, still keeping his hopes alive. But let's have a look here. We have our final map of the league stage of Trackmania Grand League Winter 2021. Going to be coming up on your screens. Also a preview to start us off with, so you can see what to expect from the final map of the season. And ladies and gentlemen, it is heating up here. The snow mod isn't going to help with all the players who are going to be feeling hot under the collar. Going into the final map, we have 1 minute left before we enter the final map of the final phase of the final step of Trackmania Grand League Winter 2021 here. Now, we'll take a quick look in at your league rankings here. You can see here Relu and Link are definitely not going to make it into the playoff stages. TMGL, I don't believe, will make it. However, the most important part for all of these players now is to avoid the bottom four, and all of these players apart from Link are going to be possible to do it. Now, an important reminder here, Kappa 103 points, does have 39 of these which he can currently lose. Gwen can lose a lot of points. Bren also should be now safe. Mudda's at risk. Tween now with a full head of points. He needs to be careful he doesn't slide into the bottom four. Scrappy as well, currently sitting on 38 points. TMGL is sitting on 24. All he can do is now full risk and hope for the best. But Papu also 29, and everyone is in danger. We are not going to know where anyone is going to be until the end of this map. But I believe that is correct as stated. If Spam wants to get in, he needs first with a fastest lap. And judging by the amount of mistakes he's been making so far, I don't know if he'll be able to pull it off. But a man with World Championship experience, definitely anything is possible. Oh, I'm already seeing someone down. Not too far down as Bren though. Stick with TMGL going through slow-mo forest in the dark, lit up by the many light fixtures around about the track. And we will be entering into the identity shortly for the first time as the crowd line the track. And here we go. So, slow-mo part, now forest part. And TMGL crashes already. He's the first to make a mistake going through the identity. And that's going to be it for TMGL. Scrappy actually falls down as well. Unless one of these players will manage to keep their points, it is all over for them. So 3 players fall. Actually, a lot of players fall. Bren now down in the points. In the bad points, sorry. Gwen in the red as well. Keep an eye on the other player of which was mentioned who really needs to keep up a good performance here. Mudda needs to outscore Tween. If Tween, I believe, gets 4th or higher and Mudda does not score, then Tween will take Mudda's spot. Only lap 2 out of 6 though. We've got a lot yet to decide. And to the slow-mo for the second time. Does everyone make it through okay? This is one of these identities that I talked about could catch you out just when the pressure is highest, and that little misjudgment, that little trigger impulse of your finger that's not quite right can spell doom. Mada moves the wrong direction, shall we say. 9th position so far. Looks as if everyone outside of the top 11 here is in a really bad spot, but one mistake through the identity can definitely change that. You can see here at the moment, Massa, Tween, Kappa. That's definitely not something Mudda will be wanting to see, is Tween up at the top, but if Mudda keeps these points, he should still be good. Maybe coming in at the expense of someone else, perhaps. A lot of these players very experienced though. No matter how experienced you are though, mistakes can definitely still be made. Let's go up here. So Tween, is this going to be another fairy tale route into the playoffs for Tween? He tried it last time around but did fail last time around at the last hurdle, I believe it was, despite an epic last step. But it looks as if Massa, Tween, Kappa setting themselves a little bit apart here from the rest. Riolu, I don't think it's going to be possible that he'll be able to get to playoffs, but it's definitely going to be possible he'll be able to avoid the bottom 4, I believe. Spam and Afi. Look how close everyone is here going through this section. Oh, Tween! Tween falls! Massa's falling! And that's going to be it for Tween's playoff hopes. evoN's made a further mistake. Scrappy's made a further mistake. I think our bottom 4 might just be decided here. The only person who can survive it, I believe, is Riolu. Spam also needs a miracle here. Papu needs to be careful. He shouldn't really be going for these top positions. Maybe though he can get Bren, Tween, Scrappy can get their positions, who knows? Maybe Papu's still got that in mind. We have 2 runs left at this identity to go though. Who's going to make it? Is everyone going to make it? Is someone going to fail? Someone's off centre a bit here. It's Kappa. He's falling. 39 points are going to go straight down the toilet. And now Mudda moves into the top 8. He's going to have to withstand Bren here. This could easily be for a playoffs position as Bren with 48 points. Only 1/10 behind the man who would be overtaken for the playoff position here. But Bren is now eking out a little bit of a lead over Mudda. The Australian really needs to call upon any sort of resolve he has left as there's only 1 lap remaining. Papu currently up in first place here, giving himself the best possible chance, but even this might not be enough. Maximum points from the final map will Papu get if he survives this at the end. Well, let's see here. Everyone pretty much setting their positions for the final time through the identity. Does everyone make it clean at the top? They do. And it's going to be Papu who wins it here. Afi, Riolu, Carl Jr., Spam, Gwen, Aurel and Mudda. Bren loses it at the end. Massa down, Kappa down, evoN, Link, Pack, Tween and Scrappy all lose points here. And that is going to be terrible for some of these players, and that is going to be their league over. Look at this. Papu actually sneaked in by 3 points at the end. Oh my god. The only thing that's not clutching it, here's my voice. But look at this. Your bottom 4 is going to be Riolu, Scrappy, evoN and Link. Your 4 players who will miss out in the playoffs: Tween, Kappa, Massa and Spam. Papu sneaks it by 2 points. Bren just withstands the charge of everyone else. Mudda, Afi, Gwen, Aurel, Pack and Carl Jr. Carl Jr. lands on 369 points because of course he does. Carl Jr. is your league phase winner by a very strong margin here. But what a league phase that was. Look at that. Between Massa in 10th and Bren in 7th, there is 7 points separating them. Kappa, if he didn't lose it at the end there, he would be through. If Scrappy didn't lose it at the end, he would probably be through. Wow. But yeah, if Papu didn't get the first place there, he would not be in. If he didn't get the fastest lap, he would have a 1 point advantage over Spam. Incredibly close, but Papu clutches it out at the very end. And what a performance there from some of the very best players in the world. But we will have our combine featuring, as we said, Riolu, Scrappy, TMGL and Link. However, all of these bottom 8 players will have a final chance to qualify for the playoffs. However, they will need to go, only one of them will make it out of this 8. Very interesting to see who that will be. But we will hopefully be able to catch up with TMGL a little bit. You will need to prepare for the combine. We will need to prepare for the combine, but at least we will see some more Trackmania Grand League coming up on our screens. But we'll take a quick look, see if we can get a final word of the regular season.
I'm here.
Hello, TMGL. Not exactly ending how you wanted it to, but you built up a good head of points there. A lot of good results so far in this step. I mean, are you taking the feeling from this of disappointment of where you ended, or are you taking encouragement from the strong overall performance of this step? Let me know what's inside that head.
I mean, I'm definitely happy that I played much better than in the other steps, but yeah, definitely disappointed.
So how are you feeling this sets you up for the combine now? Being in the bottom 4, of course, you still have the opportunity to get into the playoffs through winning the finals or the last chance qualifier, but also now Riolu, Scrappy and Link now to go against to stay in Trackmania Grand League.
Actually, from what I saw, I think I'll have a 1v1 against Scrappy, so that is just, I don't know, that's gonna be so hard. I don't think I have any chances.
Oh, no. I don't think anyone would say that you wouldn't have a chance against Scrappy, especially, I mean, look, going through this season, I mean, everyone's in this position through having some issues with their performances at some point, so I would definitely say you've got a chance against anyone in that bottom 8, so don't be setting your chin down too early, my friend. But, I mean, coming up against this, are you going to be prioritising any set? I mean, of course, you have the final stage, which will be a different kind of match you'll need to play. We saw it in last season's playoff. It's very risky. You needed to go for maximum pace over consistency. Are you going to be going for that kind of side of things, or more trying to get the consistency in your game for surviving the combine?
I mean, definitely improving my pace a little bit, but overall I feel like this 2-lap format will suit me much more. But yeah, also obviously make sure to be consistent, since it's still 2 laps, so you gotta do identity twice.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely an interesting format, and I'm sure we'll be able to go over it more when we do cover it later on. But give us your kind of thoughts overall on this season. I mean, it's been a lot of ups and downs, but definitely an interesting season for you so far. But how are you feeling coming out of it?
I mean, definitely much worse performance than last season, or the level was much higher. I think both, actually. Obviously I'm disappointed, but I still had some good performances. But yeah, I should have played much more. I mean, much better. I did play a lot.
Yeah, we know you put in a lot of effort. We're certainly seeing it on track. We're seeing your development in front of our very eyes, and I'm excited to see what kind of heights it can reach. But that is going to be us for the regular season of Trackmania Grand League. We will be back later on, of course, on your screens. We will be displaying the combine at the very least for you folks. That will be released, however, the exact date and exact time of that we will post online for you folks, so not to worry about that. So you can keep up with Team Secret, you can keep up with TMGL, and you can keep up with myself. But thank you, TMGL, for joining me throughout the duration of this season and giving us some wonderful Trackmania to cheer and watch for. But that's going to be it for me at the very least. Any final words for everyone before we send them all away, TMGL?
Well, obviously, thanks for everyone who cheered in this whole season. It's obviously always amazing to like rewatch the VOD and see everyone cheering for me. Yeah, we'll see if I stay in TMGL. I hope so.
Well, I believe at the very least, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the Combine. But that's going to be it from us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you later on. Enjoy your night, and goodbye.